Mara SOV met with the witness. It tried to recruit her as a disciple. The Queen's changed a lot since her arrival back in Seoul, but one thing remains clear: she will stop this evil and help her ancestors here on Earth. Today we take a look back at how Mara interacted with the witness, what it showed her, and her place now in the story that leads to the end of the final shape. Disciples of the witness are kind of strange. There's a variety of them, all recruited by the witness to further its own goals, finding the veil, create the final shape. What's interesting is that these disciples themselves don't even have a clear picture of what the final shape is, or was. But before the Black Fleet's arrival in full force, it would try to recruit many more disciples: Aramis, our Guardian, and Mara SOV. We've talked about all of this before, the events of Beyond Light and recruiting the Guardian to use darkness, but let's take a look back a little bit. Let's look at Mara SOV's interaction with the witness. Mara has an immense amount of power after the events of the Taken King, acquiring her throne world and even some power on top of the awoken magic she already has. The Queen of the Awoken has always been a fierce warrior. She led those awoken into battle many times in the asteroid belt and even destroyed a pyramid by touching it. She is often seen as the pirate queen leader who will stand down from no threat. The House of Wolves, getting revenge. The Dreaming City, fighting back to reclaim it. In Witch Queen, Mara helps us extract information from Savathun's worm and acquire the parasite grenade launcher. In the cutscene, as she speaks to us, she pauses as something happens.
This parasite is an opportunity to learn from humanity's greatest failure.
Our collapse.
But not ours alone. That day was as much a failure for the
Are you okay?
I'm fine. As I said, our collapse was as much a failure for the Witness and its followers. Savathun included.
Savathun was there?
On behalf of the Witness. But something prevented humanity's end. Something known by Savathun and...
her worm.
Mara pauses when she speaks of the collapse being a failure not just for us, but for the Witness. Why would she pause? Did the Witness have some control over her? Invade her thoughts at this exact moment? Later on in the quest, Mara explains the Witness gave her a vision, and in the entry lore for Parasite explains how it was trying to recruit her to become a disciple.
Mara, not to be harsh, but what's going on with you?
Before coming to you, I sought information about the voice in the dark. The Witness. What I found? Well, you could say I was granted a personal viewing of our impending doom at the hands of the Witness. Its poisons, piercing my mind and thoughts. I didn't know what to do. I had no plan. I was... afraid. I remain haunted, unsure of the next move. But it must be made, regardless.
Guardian. Transparency is not a strong suit of mine. Undoubtedly, this comes as no surprise. However, our misadventures, let's call them, with the parasite have left me with a recurring ambivalence in regard to said transparency. As a result, I feel as though you are deserving of a more appropriate level of access to my thoughts surrounding recent events. In my previously mentioned vision was the Witness's one truth, an eternity of darkness in which I serve as a disciple. It brought me an overwhelming feeling I previously relayed to you as fear, but in actuality, it was fear born of what I felt most within this vision: gratitude. Gratitude, as if my place alongside the Witness was meant to be a reward for all I have ever done and ever will do. And if the Witness is to be believed, all I will ever do is unbecoming, to say the least. It is in moments like these wherein I wonder if I myself should be put to rest to avoid perpetuating these dark truths. But I have never before wavered from righteousness, and I don't intend to begin now. With that, You should know that while our revealed truths about Savathun and the collapse appeared minimal, I have already used them to begin tracing a trail of evidence that may provide us with the power of preservation in the oncoming storm. When the time is right, we will have further parts to play together. In the meantime, keep the parasite near and listen close. It's bound to open its mouth again sooner or later. SOV, Queen of the Awoken. So those events were back around Witch Queen when we did the parasite quest and got the grenade launcher itself.
Truth you seek. Humanity's collapse. Even the witness deceived. The Witch Queen did its bidding, earned its trust, rode alongside to apocalypse, watched many burn. But the witness turned a violent gaze to Traveler. Witch Queen projected lies, clever deceptions wrapped in shadow. Tides turned, witness sent away, back amongst the stars.
Are you saying Savathun deceived the witness? Is she the reason humanity survived?
Not the reason. A reason. Not for humanity, but for Traveler.
When you take a look at the Root of Nightmares in Spiral lore book, it has an entry where Mara further explains the witness and her encounter with it. A waking dream that appears by night, singing slyly like starlight. It leaves behind a crystallized data fragment to mark its passing. I am diminished. I know this. It behooves a queen to be honest with herself, even if such truths are hidden from advisors and subjects. Leaving the distributary was not a mistake, and in fact it was the only possibility, for the expanding wake of the collapse must someday find that safe haven too, but there are days I regret it. Celestial bodies still spin, most of them. I touched the mind, the being of that terrible distant force but once, and that was more than sufficient. Even I, awoken and queen, strength of my people, felt inextricably immortal in that moment. I have stared into the hard vacuum with nothing but my will to keep the breath in my lungs and never feared a moment. This? It disquiets me. I should not be afraid. I must not embrace fear. So I turn it over again and again, picking through the pieces of that one fragmented impression for something more, to look at my own weakness time after time, to understand something is to drain the killing fear out of it, that which is known can be disassembled. There was a version of me that was grateful. No. Yet the more I analyze, the more I ponder, the less I understand. A cacophony, an overwhelming weight of presence and thought and intent. A person, but not a person, more than that. Imagine if that first place where the Awoken came to be had been nothing but screaming chaos. In the noise, in the oppressive weight, I learned pieces as delicate as spiderwebs, as scattered as stars. I lay them out along each other in my thoughts. Here is purpose, not singular thesis, but the idea of purpose, vicious and brilliant and driven as I ever was. Here is shape. I see it as sharpness, like a starless cutout against a distant galaxy made clear in the negative space. The thoughts of the hive, I might guess, but it is not quite the same. Purpose and sharpness are discrete from each other here. Darkness and the sword. No, darkness but the sword. Here is stillness. I breathe, and it shatters, but the idea of that perfect quiet ending remains, lingers into dreams. I think sometimes if I dream long enough, I will understand the witness better. The voice not of the darkness, yet in it. But I do not have the time to spend in dreaming. To understand the listless scavenger that claws through our world and cherishes the destruction it leaves as transcendent, risky as all valuable things are. I know one other thing from the witness, garnered in those bare moments I touched it. Not a why or a how, no home or treasures to point at weakness, only this. Beneath all else, that being cradles rage enough to burn the stars themselves to cinders.
In her journeys beyond the heliopause, Queen Mara SOV encountered the entity that commands the pyramids. She said its mind spoke louder than any other she has ever heard. A cacophony of thought. Perhaps those voices steer these ships. One of those voices spoke to you in the Black Garden as well.
She also describes purpose, shape, and stillness with her own definitions, comparing the three things and how they might work, purpose and shape to darkness and the sword, for example. Just looking at these three words without her explanation kind of fits the witness in general. The witness talks about purpose, the final shape, and stillness I'm assuming would be what remains in the end. Nothing. It thinks that causing all of this destruction is necessary for this, believes it's transcendent. She ends by saying the witness has enough rage to burn the stars themselves. We've seen that tiny spark of rage against Callus, so it'll be interesting to see someday the other 99% of this rage that's capable of burning the stars.
Our purpose is its end. You have no purpose.
You hold the universe in your grasp, and all you can think of to do with it is... Secure the veil. We will create the link.
Since then, we've worked with Mara SOV multiple times, Season of Defiance, Season of the Wish. Despite the witness's temptation and this discipleship of gratitude, Mara SOV remains on the side of the humans. It would be really cool though to see exactly how Mara interacted with the witness. She speaks that it showed her a vision, so did she encounter it somewhere in space? Did this vision emerge when touching some type of darkness artifact? We know that when Callus was adrift in the Leviathan, he came to a black edge of nothingness, which we believe to be the witness and that darkness. So did the same type of thing happen to Mara, or was this more of just a vision imprinted into her brain? It's really cool to see how Mara's character has evolved. She came back to Sol because she wanted a purpose. Yes, she and her Awoken could have had paradise forever in this distributary, but she saw that her ancestors back on Earth needed help, and she herself wanted to see what was left. Her emotions and decisions have wavered since then, of course. She was hesitant with the Guardian and humans and hid away her people in the asteroid belts of the reef. But now, she stands as one of our most formidable allies. The goal, still the same. She came back to help humanity and her people. That ideology still persists. The Queen and her brother are responsible for the first steps of opening the portal so we can follow and stop the witness. Even through temptation she referred to as gratitude from the witness and her achievements, she still chose us. So while Mara from time to time will still do what's best for her people, her emotions have also shifted. Her brother, the Ahamkara, and even the guardians and humans of the city. In the lore, it talks about Mara SOV's different powers she's acquired from Oryx, power she used to destroy a pyramid ship, so it makes me wonder if the Vanguard and what we've seen in the Final Shape trailers are going to be the main focus of the Final Shape, or if Mara will use some of these powers within it, or even beyond. Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. Another look at Mara SOV's character and how it's evolved over the years. If you'd like to see some more Destiny lore and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.